Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Just waiting a few more seconds to for people to join us from the waiting room. Welcome, everyone. Hope you are doing amazing today. My name is Dora Vanourek, and I will be hosting today's webinar on LinkedIn design. Chris is not going to be with us today, but no worries, I got you covered. Just a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. This webinar is going to be recorded, so if you want to watch something again in Canva on the design, you will be able to. As well as if you have any questions during the presentation, please feel free to put them into the Q&A, as well as some context about that question, because I will be addressing all questions towards the end of the presentation. Before we dive into the agenda, let me introduce myself. Again, my name is Dora Vanourek, and I met Chris about a year ago. At that time, I was still with IBM Consulting for over 20 years, where I have been doing a lot of leadership coaching. And I wanted to build a little bit of side hustle to have some extra income, as well as to really future-proof myself against layoffs in case there are any. So I have joined Chris's Creator Accelerator, and I was building my brand during the summer last year. And already during the summer, I have received several opportunities for more and more side hustles from LinkedIn because of the personal brand. And in a few months, I was not able to juggle anymore my full-time job as well as those side hustles, all those opportunities. So I had to make a decision whether to leave or whether to let some of those opportunities go. And I decided to leave at IBM after more than 20 years afterwards. And ever since then, I have been doing a number of things, but one of them is I have been coaching in the Creator Accelerator. So today's session is about LinkedIn design, and we will do a Canva walkthrough as well as we will talk about some of the design fundamentals. But let's first talk about what is the Creator Accelerator, the benefits you will get, as well as what we will be doing every single week. Then we will cover the core of the presentation, and that will be the Canva design. And afterwards, I will share with you at the end of the session a discount. It is a webinar exclusive discount for the Creator Accelerator. So let's talk a little bit about the program. You might know that this is a 10-week long program, and it has helped hundreds of people to become top 1% LinkedIn creators. It is not only designed to grow your followers, but really whatever it is that you want. Maybe you want to create on LinkedIn, maybe you want to monetize, maybe you want to grow your business, and you can do that in whatever niche that is. So let's see what we will be doing every single week. Every single week, we will actually have lots of sessions. We will have, but we will go week by week, and let me tell you how this is. So in the first week, we will talk about a lot about mindset and strategy about the personal brand and what it is, even the personal brand. And once we have those fundamentals set, we will move on to designing. We will talk about the content ideation, about the strategy. We will also move to AI and newsletters, and we will cover those in a lot of details every single week. And later on, we will move on to monetization. We will talk a little bit about Sales Navigator, how to get your first clients, how to close them. We will also focus on lead magnets, landing pages, and so on. And finally, we will talk about delegation automation so that your business is sustainable. And I mentioned that we will have several meetings every single week. So let me show you what these would be. Basically, we will have 4 live calls every single week. And in addition to that, we will have something called clinics. And these are really small group coaches that are group coaching, small, really small, maybe 8 people. And they will be led by one of our coaches, as well as what you would get is an extremely powerful community of like-minded people who are as ambitious as you are, who want to grow together, support each other with their learnings. So that's a little bit about the Creator Accelerator. And at the end of the call, just like I mentioned, I will share with you the webinar exclusive discount for the Creator Accelerator. So let me stop sharing this and I will start sharing my Canva and we will get going with the meat of this webinar. So I will be doing a demo. We will learn a lot about practical steps as well as about the fundamentals of design. And these are some of the topics that we will be covering today. So let's get going and let's first start with some useful shortcuts. You might have worked in Canva before, but maybe you are using a lot of the menu here, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's really powerful. But in order to speed your workflow, we could also learn a little bit about the shortcuts. So let me show you what these are, and they are very easy to remember. Basically, we have T for text, C for circle, R for rectangle, L for line, and then we have something called magic search, and I will show you what this is. So let's say when I press C, we get a circle. I'm just going to delete this one for now. When I press R, we get rectangles. So these are very useful shortcuts. When I press T, we get text. And let me show you what the magic search is. When I press the /, we get this menu, and here I can search for absolutely anything. Maybe I would like to search for a frog. So I will see what kind of frogs we have. But maybe I would like to have something different. So I will search for table to illustrate. And immediately I got this menu that shows me how the table is supposed to look like. And I can really choose that very easily. How many columns, how many rows. So I'm just going to pick this one for now. And we immediately get a table. I am able to move it around. I can type into it. I can also resize it just like I would any other table. I can work with that. So that is really on the useful shortcuts. Now, let's talk a little bit about the brand kit. You might have noticed when I pressed C for circle, it appeared in this color. And when I pressed T for text, it appeared in this font. And that is because I have already set up my brand kit. And let me show you what that is so that you can do the same. The brand kit is very useful because let's say if you are going to add a headline, you don't have to think about like what font should I be using today? How is the headline supposed to be in what kind of font size? What kind of color is the triangle supposed to be? You don't have to remember like all these things and always look them up. So you would set them up and you would do that by going to the brand here. And when you go to brand, you will see lots of options here. We have the brand templates, we have logos, fonts. We also have brand voice. In case you are working with AI in Canva, you could say how your voice is supposed to be. Like maybe it's empowering, supportive, maybe it's ambitious, whatever that is. But most importantly, what I would like to set up is the colors. You would basically set up all the different colors that you are using in your brand, or if you don't have the brand yet, maybe there are some favorite colors of yours. And you would just add them here by going to the edit. And here you would just click on add new color and you would enter the color code here. If you don't have any color codes here, you would just find what the color is. You would just mix it up like this. Maybe you would move here and you would just find a color that you like, and then it could become part of your color palette in the brand kit. You could also set, and this is what I would highly recommend, the fonts, because you would be using fonts a lot in your designs. So we would do that by going to edit. And I have a headline here. I also have a body. If I wanted to add a subheadline, I would just click on it. I would choose a font that I like. I would also choose the font size. Maybe I would like it to be always in bold. And when I'm ready with that, I would just click on save and save again, and then it will become part of my brand kit. So that's definitely something I would recommend to set, and it will really speed up your design. So let's keep going here. And what we will now learn about is how to design cheat sheets. And cheat sheets are probably something that you will do very often as you are designing for LinkedIn. So let's really dive into this. How would we do that when we are starting from a blank page that is white? And the first thing that I would like to do actually before doing anything else is I would like to check what is the size of this page. because there are certain sizes that are recommended for LinkedIn. And the way I would check is I would go to File, and in here it tells me what the format is. For LinkedIn, it is recommended to be in the 4:5 aspect ratio, which 1200 pixels times 1500 pixels is. So again, it should be the 4:5 aspect ratio. There is nothing wrong if you do it in a different one, but in the 4:5 aspect ratio, you are really using the whole real estate you would get on a mobile screen. And most users actually access LinkedIn through their mobiles. So not only you will get the full real estate of the screen, but what this format will also do, the 4:5 aspect ratio, is it will occupy the entire screen. So what people will do when they scroll the feed, they will see your hook of the post, then they will see the visual, and they will not see anything beyond that because the whole screen is occupied. If we use like a square or something like that, people will also see the posts that are immediately below yours. So it could be a little distractive to them. So again, it's the 4:5 aspect ratio. If it was not, you could always go here to resize and you could size it accordingly. And one new feature in Canva is previously all of the pages had to be of the same size. But these days you could actually have them in different format. Maybe you have one because you are doing some kind of presentation, then you are doing for LinkedIn design. So it's really good that you can size them differently. And so now we have this blank page. So first thing I will do after checking the sizing is I would like to set up some color to that. So I will just click on here in the background color and I can choose from my brand kit here. It will appear, yours will appear here. Or I could select some of the preset colors here, or I could maybe mix up completely on my own. But for now, I'm just going to select this light gray here. And let's see. Okay, now we have the gray here. And we have a gray color, nothing wrong with this color, but I would like to maybe make it a little bit more interesting so that it is not flat looking. Maybe we could add some texture to that, maybe a little bit of patterns. And the way we would do this is we will go here to elements on the left side and we can search for maybe those patterns or for the texture. And you can really search whatever you think of texture would look good. Maybe you can search for marble texture, or maybe it could be crumpled paper. But in this case, I am going to search for linen texture. And let's see what we will get. I'm just going to expand here on the graphics. And you can scroll through until you find something that you like. Canva has over 100 million different elements. So I'm sure you will find something that is appealing to you. So I'm just going to click on this one. And we get a little bit of texture here. It's very subtle. We could also change the color of the texture. Maybe we could make it a little darker. You can see immediately that this would be too dark. The text would not look good on that. So maybe I'll just make it a different color. Maybe something like that could be totally fine. What I could also do is I could change the transparency of this. So that way it is even more subtle, and maybe something like this is totally fine for our illustration here. So I'm just going to align it to the corner like this. And what we will do now is we need to cover the entire page, but of course I cannot expand it like this because now the grid keeps expanding and it just does not look too good. So I'm just going to undo this. And what I will do is I am going to duplicate this square and I will place it right beside, and I will do that again. And at this point, Canva is already guessing that we need to fill up on the right. And I will have to do this with the entire sheet until it is covered. And you can see that these squares are not exactly aligned on the top. So I'm just going to align them to be more accurate. So I will go align elements and I will go top. And now I'm going to duplicate them. So I'm just going to click on this duplicate and I will move it right below. And I will do that again. And at this point, again, Canva is guessing really well where we want those squares. So now we have covered the entire page. And you can see that a lot of them like overlapping on the left, on the right, as well as on the bottom, but that's totally fine. When we download this sheet, it's going to be ignored whatever is out of it. So it's okay if something is overhanging like this. However, what I would like to do is I'm just going to drag with my mouse across all of these, and I want to group them so that they can behave as a single unit. I don't want to have 12 different squares like this. So I'm just going to group them. And what I will also do is I would like to log them in. That way, when I'm working with my text, and I will maybe do T for text, I can move around the text, but none of that background is moving. So this is really important. Otherwise, it really gets messy. So now we have background. And of course, you will not do this every single time when you design a cheat sheet, because you will have this as a template that you will always be working from. Maybe you will evolve it a little bit. Maybe you will change something, but you could at least have a template like this. Now, what I would not like to do now is I would like to add a headline. So I will go to my text and I will click on my headline. We have a headline here, and I'm just going to place it towards the top here. And of course, you would just type into it. If we needed to make it bigger, you absolutely could make it bigger. And now we will be adding text to this. In order to save a little bit of time, I have prepared a text here. So I'm just going to drag over it, and I will do Command C on my keyboard. You could also go here to the three dots and you could say copy. But I will go now back to this cheat sheet that we are working on, and I will do Command V, and I have pasted my text. If you did not have the text ready, and of course in the beginning you wouldn't, you would just press on the T to create text. You would just size the font like you need. Maybe you would make it bold. You could also change the color of the font. So you would do that, but I have saved us a little bit of time to prepare the text ahead. So now you can see we have text here, but it is slightly messy. It's not organized at all. So what I will be working on now is I will be aligning the text. And we can do that by really dragging it like this and hoping that we will align it. We could absolutely do that. What we could also do is I'm going to press Shift R, or on my keyboard, Shift R, and we will get these guidelines here, and we can use them as a ruler. So from the left here, I'm just going to drag it, and I will have this guiding line. And you can see that now I can definitely use that as a ruler. Maybe I could just drag it like this until it snaps to it, kind of snaps. I could absolutely use that as well. I could also drag one from the top and just have it guided like this. So that is one way. And this is really good when we, let's say, have images and you are not quite sure where they finish and where they end. Maybe they have a little bit of blank space in between on that image. So it's good to have these guiding lines, and they will not be printed. They are just visually here for you to help you. But for now, I'm going to remove that. So I'm just going to press Shift R again, and it will get removed. And I will show you a better way how we can align this text. And that is, I'm just going to highlight the text that I will work with. And I'm just doing that by dragging with my mouse, highlighting all of them. And I will go to these three dots and I will go to Align Elements and I will align them left. Now, what I would like to also do is, before doing any more work, you can see that we always have a subheading and then we have some kind of text. And you can see that they are as two different text elements. So I just want to group them together so that I can work with them as a single element. So I'm just going to highlight them like this and I will press group. And now they are behaving as a single element. I can move them as a single element as well as I can increase them like this. So this is very handy, and I'm just going to quickly do that for a couple of them. And the way I'm doing it is I'm clicking with my mouse and holding the Shift key. And each time both of them get highlighted, I'm just going to do the grouping. So now we have them aligned to the left, but you are noticing that we have a big gap here between 1 and 4. Then we have a little one between 4, 6, and quite a big one again between 6 to 8. So how should we really work with this? Of course, we can guess and kind of move them around, but this is not very convenient and we cannot guess accurately. So I'm just going to highlight them again. And I will go back again to the three dots. And at this point, I will do space evenly and I will do vertically. We want to have them vertically aligned and vertically spaced out. So I will do that one. And you can now see that we have those spaces are equal. So what I would do now next, if I were working on this, I would actually group the rest. And maybe I would align also these three on the top. So I'm just going to align them on the top. And of course, I would also space them out. At this point, I will be doing the space out horizontally. So now we have them here and you can see what we have done, the tidying up on the left and on the top a little bit. And I'm just going to move these out of the way. But of course, I would be finishing with the bottom and with the right if I were going to continue on this. So now what I would like to do here is you can see we have a little bit of space here. So I would like to add a picture to it. And what I would do here is the headline for this one was 10 signs you are smarter than you think. That was like the example I created before. So maybe we should be looking for a smart person to put here. And the way how we would do that is you could actually create your own image outside of Canva, maybe in Midjourney or Ideogram. But in this case, I am just going to look for a smart person. And let's see what we have here. I'm just going to go and see the graphics. And we definitely have lots of choices. So maybe I will select this one. By the way, if you really like something and you are going to use it, but then it could happen you will not find it again because there's just so many. It's a good idea when you like something, go to these three dots and then use this star. I have already started, but you will have the option to start it. And then it will show up in your favorites. And how you would find the favorites is you would scroll down on this at the menu below here, and on the left you would see start, and that's where all your favorites would be. So for now I'm just going to select this element that I have that I quite like, and we now have it here. We can absolutely resize it however we like. You can also notice that we have the option to change the colors, which is really cool. So when you are selecting elements, don't pay as much attention to the colors because so many of them you could change. It's more important that the element has like a good vibe that you really like and it just looks the way that you would like. So let me just show if we can, how we can change. Let's say we would be changing the green into something else, maybe a blue or something along those lines. That would work totally fine. And what I want to now show you is talk a little bit about the design fundamentals. And one of the most important ones is lots of white space. So you can see that I have sized the picture such that it is not touching any of the text. Sometimes what I see is that it is touching, and what it does is when it is like this, it kind of creates this element of crowdiness that it does not have enough room to breathe, kind of almost feeling claustrophobic. So anytime when you design anything, and not only when you are adding pictures, but also when you have the text, have a lot of room around it. Otherwise, it just looks too crowded. So you can see that we have lots of room in between, like all these 10 different ones. So that is definitely something to consider. Now, we are not done with the cheat sheet yet. What I will do next is I would like to show you how we would highlight part of the headline, maybe part of it or maybe the whole thing. So of course you could maybe highlight one of the words and maybe you can go to the colors and maybe you could change just the color of the word and maybe that's totally fine. I'm going to undo for now. What you could also do is to actually highlight it, and I will show you 3 different ways how we can do that. The first one is we will just go to the text, highlight it like this, and we will go to effects here. And in effects, we have the background. And in the background, I can select the color of it, as well as how round it's supposed to be. You can see that it could be absolutely square or pretty round. We could also change how far it is supposed to be from the text, how it's supposed to spread, as well as we can change the transparency. So lots of options here. So this is one way how to do that. It is not my preferred way because we cannot do it only with one single word or a couple of words. It really highlights the whole text. So I'm just going to click on none now so that we can remove that. And let me show you what are the other two ways. The second one is we will go back to elements, and here I will be looking for highlighter. And you can see there is lots of options here that we have. And again, you could change the colors. So don't really look at the colors that much. Pick more at what is the kind of shape that you like. Do you maybe prefer these ones that they are a little jagged on the left and right, or do you prefer something cleaner? So once you like something, you would just click on it and you would position it wherever you would like the highlight to be, and then you could increase it and you could do it that way. So that's another way how we could do the highlights. And one last final way, and let me undo this one, is we could also use the rectangle. And let me just delete this one. I'm just going to do this delete. We could use a rectangle, and this is the easiest way. And I'm just going to press R on my keyboard, and I'm going to position it wherever I want. Maybe we would just like to do the whole headline like this to be highlighted. Of course, we would change the color of it. Or maybe we could do the entire part where the headline goes, and that way we have it nicely separated from the text. Lots of people use this one as well. I would probably position the text to be more center here. And of course, we would change the color here as well to maybe something blue, maybe to something like this. As I'm working on this, there is another design principle I want to tell you about, and that is the contrast. When we are doing designs, it's really important to have high contrast in all kinds of ways. And what I mean by that is, you have noticed when I was adding the blue here, that it was a little dark, and now we have black text and then we have the dark background, and there is not enough contrast in those. So there is two things I can do. I can either select the background that will be a little lighter. So maybe I will just select a different color just like this. Or if I really want to have a dark background, in that case, I need to have a lighter text. Maybe we need to have like white or off-white or something like that, so that the contrast is like really high. Some of the other ways how contrast shows up is, notice how we have the headline here in big fonts. Then we have the subheadline, and then we have the text. And it is kind of logical, but a lot of people don't realize that it has to be significant enough. Lots of people would have some kind of subheadline here, and then the text will be almost of the same size, and that's just not enough for a contrast. So that is on the contrast, and we are almost done here with the cheat sheet. Maybe here at the bottom you could also add your profile picture. Maybe you could say follow me, repost, sign up for my newsletter, whatever it is that you would like to do as a call to action. So now we have this cheat sheet, and let's move on and let's see what else we will be working on. Now, let's talk about infographics. Canva has tons of pre-built infographics, and these are very useful because let's say, imagine if you were building 5 steps to do something. You don't have to manually add 5 rectangles or 5 triangles or whatever, and then, do the coloring and how do they fit together, are they nicely aligned, all of that. You don't have to do that because Canva has a lot of pre-built infographics. So let me show you how we would work with those. I'm going to go back to Elements, and in here I'm just going to search for infographics, and you will see that there is a lot. You could keep scrolling until you find something. But a better way when we search for them is to actually be more specific. So the way how we would be more specific is, think about what kind of shape you would like to have for the infographics, or what is it supposed to represent? Is it supposed to be some kind of stages or steps, or is it supposed to be a cycle? If it is a shape, could it be a heart? Could it be a circle? How many elements is there going to be? So you can search with that, and you will be better able to find exactly what you are looking for. So let's say in this case, I'm going to look for infographics cycle 4, because I would like to create an infographics about the four parts of emotional intelligence. So I'm just going to search for what we have, and you can see that we are definitely getting cycles, and we are also getting elements of 4. So I'm just going to pick this one. I'm just going to click on it. Now it appears here on my cheat sheet. And what I can do is I can size it whichever way I like. So by this time, you will probably have an idea how is the infographics going to look like. Will I have a lot of text around it? If so, it means we need to have more space for the text. So maybe we would go with something like this in terms of size. Or maybe you have an idea that you want to have the text inside, more of the text inside. So not only you will be looking for one that has actually more space for text, but you will be also sizing it accordingly. So what we can do now is we can, of course, change all these colors. This is very helpful because you can add your favorite colors, you can pick your brand colors, and this really gives you lots of options here. And let's say that we are already happy like with these colors and we are able to start working on this. What I would do first is I'm just going to think about where is the text going to be. So maybe I'm going to put something in the middle. So I have typed T for text, and here maybe we could do like 4 parts of emotional intelligence, or something like that. Maybe you could also add an icon there. Maybe it does not have to be exactly text, or maybe you could add a picture there. You would probably make it bold. You would probably make it bigger like this. And now we would be adding more text to it. And let's say I would like to add text on the red part. So again, I'm going to press T. And in here, I am going to just type in self-awareness. You can see that it is kind of okay, but not really. It does not look really pretty. It doesn't look too nice because we have a circle and now the text is the way we see it. So could we make it also like circular looking like? And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to click on the text and we will go to effects. This is where we were when we were adding some of the highlights. And when we scroll down in the effects, we have this curve. And you can see immediately that it is already curved. When we scroll down a little bit more, we have this way how we can curve it even more or less. And you can also do it the other way around. So you would just find something that fits. And you would also keep rotating it like this. And maybe this is totally fine. Of course, you would also change the size of this. You would write more there. But I wanted to show you how we could really do the curve here. Now, what we would do next here is maybe I would like to add a little bit of text here that explains what it is. So maybe I'm just going to press on R to add a rectangle. On the left here, I'm just going to maybe size it like this, and maybe I would make it in the same color as what we have in the cycle in the infographics. So I'm just going to click here on the color, and I don't know what color it is, but I will show you how we find out. I'm going to click here on the add new color, and here we have pick a color. So I'm going to click on that, and I will be picking up the color from here. So now I have picked it up and now they are matching. So we have the same rectangle and we have this circle part in the same color. And in here, I could really type something. Maybe I could describe what the self-awareness is. How should we go about it? Maybe people are making some mistakes, so maybe we could add something in there. And maybe we could even make this rectangle a little around it. So I would go here to corner rounding and I would move this until I find some rounding that I like. That is fine. And maybe we could make that even better. Maybe we could go to elements and add a little bit of shadow. So I will be looking for drop shadow. And I'm just going to pick this one for now. And I'm going to place it just below the rectangle. And I'm also going to size it like this. Let me actually size it. So we will be putting it right below. And of course, you will be more accurate with this. You would take a little bit of time to really place it such that it looks like a nice shadow. And the shadow is currently covering up the rectangle. I want it to be below. So what I will do with the shadow is on the 3 dots, I will go to layer and I will send it backward and it will just send it behind. So now we have a little bit of shade. Of course, we would be more accurate. We would just size it properly, but we have something now. What we could also do here is maybe we would like to add an arrow from the rectangle to one of those elements. So I'm just going to look for arrow. There is lots of arrows that you could choose from. So again, you would just choose something, you would resize it, you would place it where you need. Maybe you would also rotate it like this. Or if the arrow was too busy, maybe looking a little cluttered, maybe we can just have a single line. So basically that's how you would that's how you would work with infographics. You would choose one of those infographics and then you would just add text to it, maybe some pictures if you want it in the middle, and different elements such as arrows, shadows, rectangles, and so on. So let's keep going here and let's now talk about elements and layers. And you can see that we have a heart here that is in two colors. And I want to show you how we can do this, because sometimes it's a good idea to really split an image and do it in two different colors. Let's say that you are working on a cheat sheet that is about fixed and growth mindset. What I will do is I'm going to look for a brain to illustrate how we would split the page, split the image. And I have found this one, so I'm just going to click on this. And by the way, when you are looking for elements, even if they are black, at most times you are able to change the color. So in this case, I'm just going to change it to maybe red. And I would like to have red on one side and green on the other. So what I will do is I am now going to actually duplicate this and I'm going to place it over. And the top one I'm going to make green. And also the top one I'm going to double click. And I'm going to crop the image such that we only have half of it. And now when I click out of this, we now have this red and we now have this green. So this is basically how you would work with layers. You can see we have it as a layer and with the different elements. You could also send a layer backwards, just like I showed you. Sometimes you just need to change the order of this. And what happens sometimes when you have lots of layers on a cheat sheet, maybe you cannot find some, and that could happen with the green one now. Like, where is it? If you have like 20 or even more, it could be difficult to find. So what you would do is you would click here on the position, and here in the position, you would show all the different layers that you have, and you would click on the one that you would like to work with that maybe you cannot find. So you would click on it, and you could also drag it from here, and you could change the order like this. This is also pretty convenient. So that is on the layers, and let me show you how to use frames. Frames are something like containers that are going to hold either a pattern or a picture, a photo. And let me show you how these would work. So I'm just going to search for elements. I'm just going to search for frames. And there is lots of different frames you could search for. So I'm just going to pick one that is random that could hold a picture. And now I'm going to go to find a picture that I have previously uploaded. When you go to this upload, this is where you can upload pictures. Maybe you created them somewhere or drawn them, or maybe find them and you like them. So I'm just going to pick one of these and I'm just going to drag over, and you can see that it kind of catches onto it. And now it became part of that frame. If I want to position the picture in the frame, I would double click on that and I would just move it slightly, something like this. And you can see that this is a really cool effect. Not only you can do it with the letters, but you could also do it with photos. You might have noticed that some people have on their LinkedIn banner maybe like a cell phone and then they have some kind of photo in it. That's exactly how they would do it. They would just find a frame of a cell phone or maybe a laptop or whatever, and they would add something to it. So that is on the frames. And let's now start and cover carousels a little bit. So when we are creating carousels, as you know, those are multiple pages of designs. And first thing that we need to do is we need to decide what kind of background we are going to have. So we have already covered that a little bit with the cheat sheets, but let me show you a couple more. Let's say that we would like to have a carousel that looks like an old paper background. So I would go to the elements and maybe I would just search for old paper background, something like that. And by the way, you don't have to search exactly here. Maybe you have taken actually a picture of a paper that you have uploaded to Canva, or maybe you found a picture on Pinterest that you really like. But if you are looking for here, you can just scroll through until you find something that you like. Maybe this one. Don't worry yet about the colors that much because we can change a lot. So I'm just going to expand here, and this would be a little too dark for the text. It would be a little in competition with the text and any kind of images. So I'm just going to click on the color here, and maybe I could make it a little lighter. Maybe something like this. What I could also do is I could go here to edit, and I would go to adjust. And here you can adjust the temperature. Maybe you want to have it a little warmer, but maybe you would like it a little brighter. Maybe you could also adjust the vibrance. That one is also quite nice. You could do a lot here with that. So just so you know, you can absolutely do that when you go to edit. And now let's say we have this already, and this will be our background. So what I will do now is I'm going to lock it again in position because I will be adding text on it, and I don't really want that background to be moving. So let me just delete this for now, and maybe we have some headline here that we will be placing. And of course, you would do your highlights. Maybe we want to put an image here. And I have already shown you how we can add an image from the elements. But what I also want to show you is you could actually create your own image in Canva if you cannot find something that you really like. So let me show you how we would do this. You would go to your homepage in Canva. So that's just canva.com. And in here on the left side, we have Canva AI. So I'm just going to click on that. And here we have create an image. We have lots of options here, but I'm going to create an image. And what I will do here is you would describe what you would like to see on that image. So maybe I could say maybe exhausted, professional, sitting at their desk. And we could choose the style. You have lots of options here. Maybe it could be sketch, maybe it could be cinematic, whatever that is going to be. Pop art. I'm going to select vector for now. And we could also select what kind of format it's supposed to be. And let me just submit it here. And hopefully this will not take too long. It should maybe take maybe 10, 15 seconds until we see something happening here. So yes, these are definitely some that we could work with. Let me just see randomly. If you like something, you could click on it and then you would have the option to upscale it, which would make it high resolution. But for now, I'm just going to click on one of them and we will be working with them. So I will just do this one and I will go copy image. And let me just go back to where we were. And now I will be just placing the image in there. And you can see that we now have an image here that is unique to us. We have created it. However, that image has slightly different background than what we have in the background of the carousel, and it just doesn't look too nice. So what I would like to do is I'm going to just remove the image, the background of the image, on clicking here, the background remover. And now we actually have something that we could absolutely use. Of course, normally you would be probably spending more time creating the image. Maybe you will be more descriptive about how the person is feeling, even what is on the desk, maybe what they are wearing. But you could also do a lot of additions here. Maybe you could change the color of the shirt because we have here the blue. We also have these other colors that you could change. So lots of options are available. And let me then show you what else we will be doing with the carousel. With the carousel, you would then be adding, of course, text on every single page. You could have also an image on every single page. Lots of people will have that. Lots of people will also not have that. So it really depends. So once you add the text, and you need to have lots of white space, we also have to have the hierarchy where we have the headline in bold, big, and then we have some subheadlines, we have some body text. Maybe we could highlight them. So you would basically do that with every single page of the carousel. When you are ready with the carousel, you would then go to share here, and you would go to download, and you would not choose PNG or JPEG because then individual pages will be downloaded. You would actually go to PDF standard or PDF print, and then it will be downloaded, those pages that you like, as a PDF, and then you would upload it to LinkedIn as a document. But let me show you what else we could do with a carousel. Let's say that we have this picture, and I have created this picture in Midjourney. I have uploaded it to Canva, and now I have it here on the carousel. It doesn't really look too good because the background on this image is different from what it is in the background of the carousel. Nothing too wrong with that, but I would like to make it even smoother. So what I could do is, of course, I could do the background remover like we have done before, but now we are kind of losing out on the sky that we used to have that added a little bit of kind of vibe to it. So I will just undo this. And I will show you how we can blend this image into the background. So I will do that by going to apps. So I'm just going to scroll until I see apps. And let's see where we have that. I must have missed it. Here we have apps. And I will look for something called Easy Reflections. Easy Reflections. It's this one. And it will really help me create that kind of blending effect. So I will go to create reflection. And in here, I will set the opacity to 100. And I will kind of play around with the offset. And you can see here in this part what it is doing, that it is kind of blending it in, kind of fading it. So I will just choose something that kind of looks okay. It's always going to be different for every image. So you really have to kind of see what happens. So maybe something like this will be fine. I'm going to add to design. So now we have here on the top, and I'm going to remove the one that we had there, or the original one. And for this one, of course, I need to flip it. So I will go here to flip, and I will do flip vertical. And I will size it accordingly so that it covers the entire page. And you can see that it is now blended. It is kind of fading, and this is something I will be totally fine to post. So that's something to experiment with. It's called Easy Reflections. And one more thing I would like to show you on the carousels is we can also add an image that looks like it's split across two pages. Lots of people use this in carousels. They also use it in featured section of LinkedIn where they have, let's say, like book a call with me, and they have maybe something like join my newsletter or whatever. And they have an image that is split across those two. So let me show you what that is. So I will go to elements, and I will search for a jumping tiger. And I'm just going to click on this one. Of course, it does not have to be an animal. It could even be a person or any kind of image. And what it does in the carousel is when we only see half of it or a certain part of it, it will really create that kind of feeling that we have to swipe through to see what is on the next page because we just want to complete that image. So that's why lots of people would use this. So I'm just going to place it like this, maybe something like that. And in here, I am going to go to the three dots and I will do copy. And in here on the next page, I'm just going to paste it in there and I will do Command V. Wherever you click to do the Command V, it does not matter because it's going to place it exactly in the same position as it was on the page before. And what I need to do now is I just need to hide it like this. And I will go to the three dots and I will go to align and I will align left. And now we have the continuation of the image and it would really create that kind of continuous effect. So let me just spend maybe a couple of more minutes. I want to allow enough time for any questions that you have. So I will show you one more thing, and that is the Magic Studio. There is lots of things that we can do with AI in Canva, and that is how the Magic Studio is powered. So let's just say that this is an image that we would like to cover the entire screen of, the entire sheet. But as I'm expanding, it does not cover it. And I really don't want to do this because now the iceberg is getting too big and it does not have enough space for me to really add enough text to it. Maybe I would like to do an infographics about what people know about burnout, but what it really is, or whatever, something like that. So I really need to expand this picture below. So I will go to edit, and here we have lots of the choices for the Magic Studio. So for this one, I am going to do Magic Expand, and we want it to be through the whole page. So I will do expand. And it's going to offer a couple of options for us. It's really calculating right now what's supposed to be at the bottom. It's going to think, okay, this is iceberg, maybe there is dark blue water, so maybe we need more water. And this is exactly what we have. We have 4 different options here. Some of them have also some kind of text, which we don't need. So I'm just going to click on done here. And now we have this entire page that is covered. If I were going to do text here at the top, I see a few clouds that could be a little distracting with the text. So I will go to the Magic Studio and I will actually use the Magic Eraser, and I'm going to delete some of these, erase them. I'm going to just decrease the size of the brush so that we can be a little bit more precise. And I'm just going to brush over like this. Maybe that will be totally fine, and I will do erase. And again, it's going to calculate what's supposed to be in the background here. So let's see what happened. Maybe I would just do it one more time to really clean it up, but that is how you would use the Magic Eraser. And let me show you one more part of the Magic Studio, and that is, let's say we have this picture, this image. Maybe you have downloaded it somewhere or created it and you would like to work with it. Maybe you would like to remove some elements from the image. I will go to edit, to the Magic Studio again, and here I would like to search for something called Magic Grab, and it's going to show me what kind of elements we have here. You can see that they are kind of highlighted as I hover over. So I'm going to press on the chair here. Maybe I would like to move it somewhere else, or maybe completely delete it from the picture. So now it's going to preparing the picture. How would it look like if the chair was somewhere else, or maybe not there at all? So you can see that I can actually move it like that now, or I can completely remove it. And that will be looking just fine. We don't have like something missing there. The door was calculated. We have normal floor there. So you can use that with Magic Grab. And one last thing I will show you on the Magic Studio is, imagine that you found this image somewhere, maybe on Pinterest, and you would like to really use it. Or maybe imagine that you have a JPEG that you created before and you cannot find a source in Canva, but you would like to update the text. So what we can do here is, and this is like, you can see the text is completely embedded here. I cannot really do anything with it. What we would do is we would go to edit, and then we will go to grab text. And what it does now, it's trying to figure out where is the text, as well as it's trying to figure out what kind of font is there, so that it can prepare for us for the edit. So I'm just going to click on this, yes, to confirm, yes, this is the text, to grab it. And now it is going to think what kind of font it is. So now I can move it around freely, and I can also type into it. And I can just update it like that. So that is on the Magic Studio, and that concludes this part of the Canva design. And as I mentioned to you, I would like to share with you the exclusive code for the Creator Accelerator. So let me just stop sharing here, and I will share again what we have looked at before, and that is the Creator Accelerator information. So what we are offering today is 5 additional webinar inclusive seats for a 10% discount. And you can see the design 10 here. That is the code that you would be using to really take advantage of the discount. And the next program, the Creator Accelerator, is going to start in July, and July the 14th. And it's going to be a really special one because it will be a last one for a while. Chris and his wife are expecting a baby in October. So, of course, Chris will be busy with family and really prioritizing his family and his baby. So, we will be doing this one as the last one for a while. So, take advantage of this one and take a screenshot of this. Maybe you could share it with friends if they are interested as well. And as I mentioned, we will have 5 additional webinar seats. So this discount will last until midnight of July the 6th, or whenever the 5 seats have sold out. So I hope you can take advantage of that and really join us. And now let me just check the chat quickly here. Thank you so much for the kind comments and for being here with me, and for really being attentive. I hope you have learned a lot. So now I will stop sharing and I will check the Q&A, and let's go through that, and I will address as many questions as I can. AJ is asking how to set a design inspiration or know how well the cheat sheet or carousel would be presented. So there is a couple of ways. Like one of them is you probably have favorite creators that you like. Maybe you like them because their designs are very clean. Maybe they are very minimalistic, or maybe they are using certain style of sketches. So you would absolutely have that. That would be one thing to consider. Who is your inspiration? And it is inspiration, of course, not copying, but absolutely we can be inspired. The other thing would be is we need to consider who is your audience. Like if these people are maybe student of art, then maybe your designs have to be a lot of colorful. Maybe there could be way more elements than there would normally be. Maybe they would appreciate lots of vibrance. However, if the audience maybe is technical professionals, maybe they would appreciate more of the clean lines, maybe very methodological. So there is a couple of ways how you would really think about it. And of course, you would also consider what is really good with you. You would consider what is authentic, what feels good when you design it. Because at the end of the day, we need to have joy when we design. Otherwise, we will quickly burn out. So those are just few things that I would consider. And for the inspiration, of course, you could look not only on LinkedIn, but maybe on Instagram or maybe Pinterest, anywhere. And anything that you like, maybe even your favorite images that you have at home, like paintings on the wall or anything like that. And Mara is asking, those text boxes, when you were showing us how to align and space them out, did you create them first in some other tool like Mural or Word? No, I have not created them anywhere else. What I would do is when I design, I will do my research. Of course, I will do it in AI tools, and I will also write a lot of my text on my own, but I would do that directly in Canva. So I would press on T, which would create a text element, and then I would be able to just type in the text, and I would be able to resize it as well as to change the font type, font color, and so on. Mara is also asking, is the star favorites only available in a pro plan? I don't see it in my free Canva plan. To be honest, I am not too sure about that. I would imagine it's such a basic thing that it should be available everywhere. But if you right click on it and any element and you don't see it, maybe try a different element, see if maybe there was some kind of glitch. But yeah, I'm not exactly sure on that one, but maybe something I will check into. And how do you make handwritten images on Canva? Do you mean like the handwritten fonts? If that is the case, then we can absolutely go to Canva, and where we have the font type, you could search for handwritten. So you would actually type in handwritten, and there is going to be lots of options. Sometimes I ask ChatGPT for a certain font size. So maybe I will font type. Maybe I'm describing the situation, what I'm working on, and I will ask what kind of handwritten font could be good in Canva, and then it will tell me, and then I can find it in Canva. So that would be one way. I know that some people have their own unique handwritten fonts that they have actually designed, like outside of Canva. Maybe they have hired a designer on Fiverr or somewhere else, and they have designed the fonts, and then they have just brought the fonts to Canva. So lots of different options there. Ahmad is asking, when I download a carousel as PDF from Canva and upload to LinkedIn, it loses the quality. How to download without compromising the quality? So what I normally do is I would choose the PDF print and I would select the highest quality if it is available, and it will download it. We have to make sure that it is not over 100 megabytes big, because if it is, we will not be able to upload it to LinkedIn. If it is bigger, I would just search online for how to compress it. There is lots of tools online that you could compress. I personally use the one from Adobe. It is completely for free. I don't even have to like log in, sign in, and it creates it compresses it with a high quality. What I find though is if I download it from Canva and I look at it and I zoom into it, if at that point, if it is high quality and I upload it to LinkedIn, it's going to be preserved like that. So I haven't really encountered that it would be of lower. But again, it's important to download it and check on your laptop or desktop that it is of the high quality before we upload it to LinkedIn. And Josh is asking, are you using the free version of Canva or the paid? I use the paid, and the reason I do that is I don't have any affiliate codes for Canva or anything, but what I believe is this. I am in Canada, and the paid version, I think it was around maybe $120 for the entire year. And I use Canva almost every day. And when we divide how many days they are in the calendar year, how many designs we will probably create, not only for LinkedIn, but maybe we will be creating birthday parties or whatever. Maybe when we divide it, it's probably like less than half a dollar per day or something like that. So it was really helpful for me to get a paid option. I know that in the free one, we don't have the Magic Studio. So that would be one thing that is missing. Brand kit is probably not there either, but it's absolutely possible to work a lot with the free version. You can achieve a lot with that one too. And Warnes is asking, should our brand colors be the same as our website? Ideally, yes. When you have a brand, ideally you would have brand colors that will be represented across different formats. So it will be not only the website, maybe it will be any kind of communication that you do, social media, anything that you basically have. But you could absolutely have a subset of those colors. Maybe on a website it will be lots of colors and lots of different fonts. Maybe in Canva it will be a subset of that. But we don't really have to overcomplicate it. We could just commit to something for now in Canva. But ideally, yes, it should be aligned. And Phil is asking, what do you think is the single most effective tactic to stop the scroll? It would be, if we are talking about the designs, it would be something that is very easy to read. It gives immediately from the headline an idea what a person is going to get from reading it. And the idea has to be something that is valuable for the user, not helpful or interesting. Well, helpful is also good, but it's better to have valuable over interesting. So it's very important to get that right in the headline. And also high contrasting of those cheat sheets. So if I'm doing a lot of like muted colors and then I have muted text over it, it's very difficult to read. So anything that is easy to read and gives the message very quickly what a person is going to get, I would say that will stop the scroll. And Jean-Francois is asking, what's the difference between Digital Business Accelerator and the Creator Accelerator program? This is a really good question. And so let me explain a little bit. The Creator Accelerator program is really about creating content for LinkedIn. And so we will do how to write it. We will do about how to think about what to even write. We will have a lot of sessions where we will analyze why did a post work or maybe did not work. It will be also how to monetize from LinkedIn. But the Digital Business Accelerator is more about the business. It's less about how to post on LinkedIn. It's more about how do you know what kind of idea should you have in your business? How do you confirm that it's going to work with your audience? How do you confirm the demand? How should you go about creating tools for that? How should you then maybe market it? How should you create a landing page for that? How should you monetize it? So it's all about that. So again, like the Creator Accelerator is about how to design and how to write for LinkedIn and how to go about LinkedIn and how to create our own personal brand. But then the Digital Business Accelerator is more about the business itself. And I am sure that Meg will share both links in the chat and you can check them out to see the difference. But also please feel free to ask Chris or me about that and we will be happy to get back to you. And Zoe is asking, hi, what's the best size of featured section? I don't remember it offhand. Maybe this is something we could then I'm wondering how we could share it. Maybe I will look into that just a little bit later. I'm just going to answer some questions and then I will get back to that. And I have it in my Canvas, so I just need to look at what that is. And well, let me actually do it now so that we don't forget. I will go back to Canva and I'm just going to go here at my home. And I have just worked on the featured section recently, so I should be able to find it here. Okay, it's here. So I will go to File, and this is the size. So it's 1200 times 627. 1200 times 627. That will be the size. So let me stop sharing here. And I will go back to the Q&A. And Michelle is asking, what is the ideal size and number of pages for a carousel created in Canva and posted on LinkedIn? So the ideal size, we really need to consider that we need to give enough value, but not too much as to overwhelm the user. So typically we would have one page as the front page, one page as the end, which would be like the follow me repost or any other call to action. And then we have something in between. Ideally, the between should be at least five different things we are doing, 5 tips or 5 insights, something like that. I would probably go for a little bit more. I would not go overboard to like 15 because then the user is really overwhelmed and they may not finish the swiping and they may not be able to absorb everything that you are giving them. So me personally, I do 9, but I have absolutely seen 11 or even 13 be totally fine. And Maya is asking, you mentioned using Midjourney for some images. Do you recommend Midjourney over Canva AI for generating most images? It really depends. If you have the appetite to learn a different tool, then yes, I would recommend Midjourney because Midjourney is specifically for designing images, now also for videos. And Midjourney has been around for way too long in terms of image generation versus Canva. Canva has only started doing this maybe a few months ago where you could generate AI images. So you have way more options in Midjourney. You also have a bigger customer base. So people learn a lot from each other. There is lots of different styles, but we don't have to overcomplicate. Canva would be totally fine for that for now. And Prashant is asking, how can we add animations to infographics to make them easy to understand and appealing? So we would be adding them as video. When we go to the elements, we could search for video, and in the video, you would type in whatever it is that you are looking for. Maybe it's like a mirror or magnifying glass or whatever element it is, you would find it, but also some of the elements you could animate. So when you click on them, you have the option to animate. So that is on that one. And David is asking, how many brand colors would you recommend to start out with? So I would say probably 4. We don't need more than that. What we need is 1 for the background. That would be like the main color that we would use. We need 1 for font. Maybe we need 1 accenting color for the font. So maybe we are maybe highlighting something in the font, and we need 1 accenting for the background. So if we are using like adding rectangles, triangles, whatever. So if we have these 4, we are totally fine to begin with. We could have more, but I wouldn't do like 10. It could be a lot. So yeah, anywhere in there, maybe like 4 to 5, that would be totally fine. And Mustafa is asking, how can I write professional prompts to get suitable photos? So there is lots of different ways about it. And this is actually a skill, of course, that it keeps developing. We just keep writing the prompts and every single day we will improve. But some basic guidelines is you would first write in the prompt what it is supposed to be. So is it going to be like a sketch or a photo or a professional portrait or whatever it's going to be? Then you would type in the subject. So is it going to be maybe a female leader, or is it going to be a cute cat, whatever it's going to be. And then you would be describing that. And when you are describing it, refer to it back again. So you would say, for example, a sketch, colorful picture of a cat. Don't say it sits somewhere, but you would say the cat sits. And you will be like referring back to that subject so that it's very clear. And what is most important on your picture has to be made in the front of the prompt. So if you spend like 3 or 4 lines on a prompt and then at the end you have something that is very important, wherever you are prompting, like ChatGPT or Midjourney or Canva AI, whatever is towards the end, it will probably have less weight than if it was in the middle or actually in the front. So those are the some things to consider. Also with the prompts, I use ChatGPT a lot for that. I will describe the situation I'm working with. So for example, I will describe in ChatGPT, I am working on a carousel for 7 types of burnout. Help me brainstorm about what I should have on the front page image of the carousel. It will give me options. Maybe I will select one of them and I will say, help me create a prompt for this. So it will actually help me create a prompt and then I am able to modify the prompt. So maybe I would not create a prompt from scratch. I would actually start with something that helps me like that. So I hope that answers the question. I don't see any other questions in the Q&A right now. Anything in the chat or anybody would like to ask anything? Let me just check here. I can see we have the website and I don't see any more questions right now. So thank you so much for everyone for being here and being attentive and engaged, and have fun and be well. See you soon.